sa inyong tanan. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Morning! A very pleasant and empowering morning to all my fellow women public servants. At syempre, dahil Marso pa, Happy Women's Month sa ating lahat. Batiin naman po natin yung ating seatmates at yung ating tablemates ng Happy Women's Month, sis. Month, mga sis. To the Lady Local Legislators League of the Philippines, salamat kid. Thank you for inviting me here in Iloilo, a city so dear to my heart. Sa mga hindi po nakakaalam, Ilongga din ako. Our clan has roots all over Panay Island, so that's why being here is really like coming home. Hayaan niyo muna akong batiin yung ating mga kapwa leader kababaihan na nandito ngayong umaga, lalo na po ang ating mga hosts at organizers ng ating pong pagtitipon. First of all, Honorable Vice Governor Christine Dingding Garin, National President of the 4L, and my gracious host so many times, and again, I'm so glad po. And then, Honorable Kate Galang Coseteng, Vice President of 4L, yung isa ko rin seatmate ngayong umaga, at ako po'y constituent niya bilang Batang Quezon City. Ang Executive Officers, Vice Presidents of the 3 main islands, and Board of Directors of 4L Philippines. Sige lang, palakpakan po natin sila. My dear young friend, kasama ko po sa isa pang organisasyon at programang pangkababaihan, yung Angat Bayi, Mika Ortega, Ibang Kabigat. So nice to see you here again. And of course, our wonderful Pastor Jeffrey Eliscopides. At lahat po ng mga miyembro ng 4L Philippines na nandito ngayon. It is also fitting that we, women leaders, are gathered here in Iloilo because of how historically significant this place is to the women's movement. Iloilo is also home to the women's movement. In 1906, Pura Villanueva Calao and Ilongga founded the Asociación Feminista Ilongga, a suffrage group that engaged in the struggle for women's right to vote. Several years later, in Luzon, another suffrage group emerged. Around 1921, the National Federation of Women's Clubs in the Philippines, then known as the Society for the Advancement of Women. Maraming kilusan ng kababaihan ang nagsama-sama at nagtulungan para isulong ang isang napakasimpleng karapatan. The campaigns were so extensive, so far-reaching, so successful that when the Philippine government demanded that at least 300,000 women to vote in a national referendum, 447,725 showed up. As usual, we women go above and beyond. So, on April 30, 1937, the women's right to vote was granted. What is even more fascinating is that two of the women who were part of the suffrage movement, two of the many women who fought for our basic rights, then became our first lady legislators. Kumbaga mga lola natin dito sa 4L Philippines. Si Representative Elisa Ochoa ng Agusan. Wala bang palakpak ng mga taga-Agusan dito? Yan, mabuhi. Ang kauna-unahang babaeng naging miyembro ng House of Representatives. At si Senator Jeronima Pecson ng Pangasinan. Isa ng palakpak ng Pangasinan. Okay, nandito rin. Siya naman ang kauna-unahang babaeng senador. All of us are here today. All of us are women like Representative Ochoa and Senator Becson, who showed us that it is possible to dream big for our women. Imagine a better life for our women, to fight and win for our women. All of us here are so lucky to have been able to stand on the shoulders of these women giants. All of us here are in privileged positions, in rooms where decisions are made, in spaces where we are actually listened to because of all the women before us. Let us make good use of this history. Let us make good use of the power our foremothers shared with us to uplift even more women, especially the most vulnerable. Ang mga solo moms, ang mga babaeng pinagkainan ng trabaho, mga babae sa informal sector, mga babaeng OFW, ang mga babaeng health workers, mga babaeng biktima ng karahasan. Huwag po natin silang kalimutan sa bawat polisiya at panukala na isinusulong natin. As we celebrate Women's Month, it's really important that we look at this month not only as a standalone celebration, but also as an occasion to stop and set the agenda for the rest of the year. Tayo, mga leader, kababaihan, ay may kakayahan at may kapangyarihan na gawin ito. Gamitin natin ang ating mga natatanging karanasan bilang babae para isulong ang women's agenda. The laws I've championed, the laws we've all championed, such as the expanded maternity leave law, the expanded Solo Parents Welfare Act, and the Safe Spaces Act, or the Bawal Bastos Law, among others, were all driven by my own distinct experiences as well as a woman. I'm sure you are doing the same too. There are experiences that will always be unique to each of our contexts, to our provinces, to our communities, to our local governments. So let the entirety of our being a woman be the vantage point from which we create change. Our country, si Inang Bayan, needs us women leaders now more than ever. We need active participants for our democracy to work, but we especially need women participants for our democracy to thrive. Alam natin na hindi ito madaling gawin. We know that our institutions still view women's issues as secondary. We know that public servants are somehow expected to prioritize something else, something more urgent, something more important. Huwag po tayong magpadala sa mga ganitong naratibo. These are narratives that have long been pushed to silence the woman's stories. Bilang feminista, I know that when we follow the woman's story, we follow the story of oppression. If you follow the woman's story, we uncover issues that not only affect the most disenfranchised women, but also the most disenfranchised communities. My dear sisters, let us not be discouraged when we're told that women's issues are not a priority, not urgent, or not important. We must only continue to assert our place as women, as legislators, as leaders, as public servants. We must fight back against norms, traditions, and beliefs that seem to keep us where we are. Hindi madali ang laban. Alam natin yun. Tulad ng kwento ng mga Pilipinang suffragette, 3 dekada pa ang lumipas mula noong sinimulan ni Risa Calao make our dreams a reality. Taking this long view of history, this long view of her story, only shows us that we, women, dear sisters, must only keep at it. Huwag nating bitawan itong laban. Ang laban ng kababaihan ay laban ng sambayanan. Nagdamagin na salamat sa inyong